Historical high-grade results are in for Viking Mines Linka Project over in Nevada. Here to talk all things tungsten is the Managing Director, Julian Woodcock. Julian, thank you for having me in your office.
Hey Shay, it's a pleasure to have you here over in sunny Perth.
Yeah, definitely sunny. And you brought all the rocks out for me to play with, so thank you very much for that. First things first, it's been a busy week for Viking Mines. You've released a lot of information around your tungsten project Linka over in Nevada. Let's start with the samples. Now, you've kindly gone and put this map up here to talk me through some of the results. Give me the numbers.
Yeah, so the first bit of news we put out this week as we're progressing working through the historical data set was surface sampling. So back in the mid-1970s, the geologist undertaking work on the project undertook a surface sampling campaign across the known mineralisation. And probably the key standout from this, I mean, a number of great results, and some are on the map. There's 1.5%, 0.8%, which are great results in their own right. But the standout was down here in the southwest. We got 0.6%, which is a strong tungsten grade. But the really important thing is it's sitting 800 metres away from Linka, the mine that was in the shaft that was operating, and it sits underneath this green colour on the map. Now, the green colour is a younger volcanic rock that's not mineralised, and it's overlaying and covering the mineralised units. So what this has done is effectively doubled our strike length of the target immediately in the area. So we now are working, and we expect the opportunity to drill through this area where the yellow dash is, and hopefully find mineralisation in that area.
So how do these results compare to your peers in this space?
Yes, so there's a number of mines globally, or resources globally, and our grades are very substantial grades. There's projects out there which have grades less than 0.2% WO3, which have resources and reserves on them. So our grades are substantially higher, and especially when you take into consideration some of the really high grades that we get in individual samples and meters which exceed 1%.
Now, I started today's conversation talking about historical high-grade results. I'm going to assume these results are based on something that is particularly shallow and with old equipment. Is that correct?
Yeah, so the drilling that was undertaken, and I'll talk to some drilling results in a moment, but the drilling that was undertaken in the late 1970s, that was using old equipment, or not old at the time, but now very historic, and they had problems getting to depth. The maximum depth of drilling was 125 metres, and they couldn't penetrate any further. And the average depth of drilling in the recent tranche of results that we released was only 51 metres. So realistically, from an exploration perspective, this is just a very shallow veneer that's been tested, which leaves lots of areas open and for opportunity for us to drill and hopefully find additional mineralisation.
So that's a perfect time to talk about the historic drill results that you've also released this week.
Yes, so subsequent to the surface sampling information we put out earlier in the week, we then finished the first tranche of results that we digitised, all the collars and all the downhole assay data. There was a lot of information to collect from the old hand-drawn sections. We released results at both Linka and Hillside, so two of the three areas, and this map shows the distribution of holes. There's green triangles at percussion drilling, the blue diamonds and the diamond drilling, and as an example of some of the excellent results we've got here. So 9.8 metres at 0.5% at Linka from only 60 metres depth. A really shallow result, almost 8 metres at 0.9% from only 7.6 metres. Further along at Hillside, the second area that has some historic workings, 3.1 metres at 0.6. And there's more numbers like this, and any of the viewers, if they go and have a look at the announcement, they'll be able to digest everything that we've recently released. The second part of that is we still have about 40–50% of the data yet to finalise digitising and get released, but that should be coming out soon. That's up at Conquest, where there's quite a high density of green triangles, so there's quite a large volume of holes drilled up in that area, and they should be coming out very shortly.
Now, you have a very special light and a very special rock that you're going to show me. I'm dying to see this in person because I've seen the photos. Can you get your little flashlight out? Yeah,
sure. So this is a UV light. It's essentially providing ultraviolet radiation or ultraviolet lights onto the rock, and scheelite, the mineral that holds the tungsten that we're exploring for, has a unique property where it fluoresces under a UV light. So normally it just looks like this. It's a bit white, bit much just like a rock. But when I put the UV light on, you get all these lovely crystals shining up. So that's the scheelite crystals that we see. So this is a nice coarse crystal example. I've got some other rocks here, but yeah, so there's more shining up on that. But then also you can see some of these smaller pinpricks, and some of them actually go very blue.
I can see some, bluey purple
yeah,
tones. What does that mean?
Well, there's some of the scheelite can vary depending on if there's molybdenum in the crystal. It changes more from a bright blue or a white colour through to a more of a yellow or a greenish colour.
Okay.
So again, there's lots of little pinpricks on here which represent all the scheelite crystals that we've got.
Does that mean that you've got to go prospecting at dark?
Yeah, so it was quite a unique time when we were out doing the due diligence. We were out looking at all the rocks and we go, yeah, we think this is the right stuff, but we basically had to wait for the sun to go down to get the light out to be sure, which was really useful, but it was kind of unique scrapping around the outcrops and the shallow workings in the dark with a hammer and a UV light.
Now, speaking of due diligence, you put an announcement out today, the 20th of February, that you're going to progress ahead with the project. What do you mean by that?
Yes, well, look, it's probably no surprise from the flow of news that we've had that we're very excited by the opportunity this project's presenting. But formally, in our agreement, we had a period of due diligence. We, in that due diligence period, went out to site, did the site visit, collected the samples, and we've subsequently staked more claims, started digitising all this data. So we formally ticked the box, made the payment, and sent the notification to the vendors of the project that we're now on the acquisition pathway. That just cements that agreement in place, but it also then allows us to move forwards with the next phase of activity. So key things that are underway is we've got a geophysics survey happening as we speak throughout this area. The geophysicists are working out in the snow out there, which is a far thought from the warmth we've got here in Perth. Yes. But in addition, we're on the back of that, the digitising the data, commencing producing geological model, submission to the federal government to get our first drilling programme underway, and then booking in a drill rig. So lots happening in that space. Second front that we're looking at is potential near-term development opportunities. So we know there's some historic stockpiles at the site, which we're currently in the process of assessing. We actually collected a sort of 60, 80 kilo sample from those when we did the due diligence visit, running 0.9%. That's in our metallurgical lab, which will be undergoing some test work. And then we're going to investigate options to potentially process those stockpiles and get a scheelite concentrate sample, which we can then go to off-takers with. So lots happening.
Listen, Julian, thank you so much for the update today. I really appreciate it. And getting the UV light out so we can look at the rocks. It was great to visit Viking Mines head office.
That's great. It's really a pleasure to have you here. And as always, I enjoy these interviews.